where I feel really passionate about is in the process of doing the Day of Peace events. We, in 2014, the city of Carmichael, which is, part of Sacramento, represented the United States on the United Nations International Day of Peace. And we were in prayer with 7 other countries to pray for global peace. And we planted our peace pole as an acupuncture needle for peace on the planet. So we have a deep ripple that some things have taken way too long and other things are moving quickly, and it's just time, and that we can collectively bring that energy all together to move forward. And that's part of why I love the foundational concept of the Mother's Day Proclamation. It's very inclusive, and it also acknowledges that we don't have time to wait anymore for important questions to be answered by irrelevant agencies. It's time that we as women start caring more about, not caring more, but stepping forward and come from a more empowered place, that we have a right. That's another piece, is really working with our healthy moral outrage. That when we can step and hold that power in that moral outrage, I think that's how the change is really going to create a momentum for actual change, not just talking about it.
I'm excited to share with you. We're going to go ahead and start a slideshow. Thank you. So, thank you. This is about the fruit of life as an organizing tool. I'm part of the first active Congress of Women in Sacramento, and we want them all over the world. My hope is that we ignite the fire within each of you to want to organize your own Congress of Women or be a part of one. S.A.R.A.H will be offering different classes to support you in your process for great success. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll go to the next one. As an artist, I was introduced and guided by what I call spirit to add the fruit of life to this piece of art that I made from producing 5 years of Day of Peace events locally. I was called to explore the fruit of life, which is part of sacred geometry. It might be a little hard to see on this, but this has 13 metal circles in the center, and that is the fruit of life. So what you see here is a part of this art piece that has become the logo for my business. So for me, this whole process was and is a communing with spirit in a very sacred way. So next, please. Thank you. Sacred geometry is an ancient form of knowledge that explains how the universe creates and organizes. The one in the middle is the fruit of life, which you've been seeing, and it is considered the blueprint of the universe. It's in everything that exists. So creation follows a very natural order that divides, multiplies, and creates dimension, starting with the sacred circle and then getting more and more complex, as you can see. Next. This painting is called Sacred Garden, and I first thought of myself as a sacred gardener. And I invite you to take a moment and do the same, so we can all take a collective breath together and ask yourself, what have I already been planting in the world? What are your passions and or work you are already doing for the good in your community and on this planet? Next. So with that said, let's take a moment and look at the 12 critical areas which you've already seen, but now we have them placed in the fruit of life. So see where your passion feels the most called. And placing yourself in the center, you can just simply brainstorm and write names or businesses in your circle that you have printed out, or you can draw that quickly on a blank piece of paper. So you want to write names that feel connected with that work or businesses or issues in your circles. and you can take your time. It doesn't matter if you fill all of them up right now. This is just an opportunity for you to begin playing with this concept of organizing in a new way. So you may start noticing how many of these issues in this configuration of the Beijing 12 become very clear how interrelated and interdependent they are with each other as a whole. So for example, if you focus on healing the issues around the girl child, this will automatically affect women in health, stopping violence, supporting education, and so on and so on. Now, in order to find, you're missing one, Sandy. Can you go back, please? Yeah, thank you. In order to identify the women that would be in the Sacramento Congress of Women, I went through a very deep meditative process and ritual, asking to be guided for names that together would achieve the highest and most effective good for our community, as well as all humanity and the world we live in. So it's important as you do this to let yourself allow this to unfold so it actually feels right. You connect with it on a feeling level and allow this to be a process. Okay. Once my group was already filled in, a new level of work began. So first I invited them through an invitation, sharing about being part of Julia Ward Howe's template of action, which I consider the Mother's Day Proclamation.
Thank you.
Through creating a Congress of Women. I was so amazed that 10 out of the 12 busy women that I contacted said yes. And this was back in August. So they were all invited to the September Day of Peace call. And that helped all of them catch fire and want to be part of the Congress of Women in Sacramento. So what I would recommend for any of you that are starting your own group, that you actually create a watch party of the call from September. It's an extraordinary call, and do it where you have your group, and it may be larger at that point, but have it as a way of doing circle and talking about what people experience and where they want to go from there. And hopefully they'll all say yes. Our group meets once a month right now, but you have the freedom to work in being as fruitful and creative as you choose. We've been in the planning part of a goal for 2021. So now our meetings may become more often once we move more into this action phase for what our goal is. Next one. Thank you. So when you have a group, we will always practice these principles. You'll always use the circle principles for each meeting. You can use the existing agreement of care and caregiving, which is provided for you, or your group can create your own. And you identify how you can cross-pollinate with the different areas of concern, and this will naturally accelerate the solutions. And you can also work on completing agreed governance of how you'll run the group in your circles. And we also focus on sacred economy, because as women, we all feel that we need to be paid and compensated monetarily for how much we contribute to the work that we're doing. It's part of our evolution. So remember, this is a very organic, natural process. You cannot pull the plant. So think of yourself as a gardener. Let things evolve and grow. Just nurture them. One of the most beautiful things about this process is it's organizing with the rhythms of the universe. I believe we are moving towards balancing and creating a new way of harmony and through nature and union with the divine feminine and masculine in balance. So using the fruit of life is non-hierarchical. We can each take turns in leadership roles, and this is a new paradigm for most of us. Next. You can name your Congress. This is a medallion that Sacramento has. You can name your Congress what you want. We are called the Sacramento Congress of Women because each of us have a different business or organization or represent an organization. So most of us are in Sacramento, but all of us are in California, and Sacramento is the capital of California. So it seemed a natural title. At our October meeting, one of our circles, Laura Hansen, is with Compassionate Sacramento, and she had secured with the Crocker Art Museum back in 2019 to have an exhibit for the end of July through the end of September 2021. And there were going to be events all along the way. But because of Corona, it was not going to be possible to complete this original plan. So when she shared this with our Congress, we all got very excited and collectively agreed to this being our project, which is still in the planning phase, but we've secured our location. It'll be live or on Zoom, but that will unfold. So now Compassionate Sacramento will be the presenter of an exhibit by the Sacramento Congress of Women at the Crocker Art Museum with a reception date for September 21st, Day of Peace in 2021. We're so excited. So as part of this exhibit, all 13 of us will be creating a focus that will cover the 12 areas of concern to bring more awareness and support to our community. As we plan, we hope that each of our circles will use the fruit of life to create their project teams as well. So this will naturally grow and grow. Our vision is that each of the other circles in our Congress will take leadership roles in presenting events as well. And this will also include a focus on creating financial support from our community instead of relying on government to create another healthy new paradigm.